Well, welcome everyone. I hope those of you who are lucky enough to be in breakout rooms had a good time. And now we're time to get updates, and we have a rich and varied group of updates. So I'm going to start off with our affinity groups and start off with Elise, please. Elise Hoblitzel, the Contemplative Practices and Psychedelics Affinity Group.
Great, thank you, Anne. I'm glad I was able to come on today after, as some of you may have heard, quite a bout with COVID. So when Anne first emailed about this, I thought, I'm never going to be able to announce anything ever again. So anyway, here I am, and I'm so delighted to announce that Francisco Riverola has kindly offered and agreed to step in to lead our affinity group. Many of you may be aware of my announcement that I was needing to step back. And so I'm so grateful, Francisco, to your soon-to-be leadership with your rich experience and background with teaching meditation, studying contemplative practices in the ways that you do, and all that you will bring to this wonderful group of practitioners and inquirers. I will be present for, well, hopefully present for future meetings, but one last gathering that I'll facilitate will be in February 7th. I'm just double checking here. Yes, February 7th at 7:30. I'll send out the usual email announcement that we will be so lucky to have Andrea Tomasi joining us to offer conversation and practice related to breathwork and sound healing. She's a gifted musician, a beautiful facilitator, and a lovely human being to know. So, so that's pretty much it. We're lucky that this affinity group will continue under Francisco's tutelage and guidance, and glad to be able to announce this to you all today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for all you've done over these years, and welcome Francisco to be the leader of that great group. Thank you. Rebecca Slater is going to tell us about the Veterans and Psychedelic Affinity Group, please.
Thank you, Anne, and good afternoon, everyone. So the Veterans Connection and Support Affinity Group, we gather monthly on Zoom. And we gather to really foster community, exchange veteran-related updates, and provide just general support to each other. Really what we're sort of looking at the journey after the journey. You know, integration goes on, and especially as veterans are going through their healing and have left maybe their military communities, they're looking for community now as they're working through healing. And so this group is a cross-country participation. So I think I said in the breakout room, I actually probably get more inquiries from places outside of Massachusetts, but in places where education is not as available in those communities. So it's really exciting to be able to support and let veterans and those who serve them support each other. Participation as veterans, people who work in the VA, people who serve them as practitioners, clinicians, holistic health folks, or just general advocates where the veteran cause is close to their heart. Of late, our particular area of interest that we're moving into next is learning how vets can support each other in person. And while the group is broad across, our monthly call, we're getting folks who are in the Massachusetts area and figuring out how can we meet in real life, and how can we build something that's not just the vets in our group, but it can be open, and it could serve as an educational place where they could maybe go to a VFW or serve their community. We could have info sessions, or a hike in the woods, meet for coffee, and relationships can really build in person. So that's our discussion probably for 2024, to figure out how might we do that. What are the ways? One ask for help is if you are in Massachusetts and you have places, we're looking for low or no cost places to meet where we could potentially do a recurring meeting. Right now we're sort of centered around Boston, but we're looking, it's hard to get from the North Shore to the South Shore. So if you know of areas or could offer a space, please reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat. And the last thing I'll offer, I also want to start bringing more news of what's going on in the veteran space. The biggest news probably is that the 2024 defense budget included funding to fund research with the military. And so this is money government money to fund research for the first time. And their goal is to fund it, establish a process for the Pentagon to do that, get with agencies who are already performing, academic institutions, state agencies, or federal agencies who are performing research, work with them, and then over time be able to submit reports annually of who's participating, the troops who are active, who are in it, and then what are those results. So this is really exciting for anybody doing trials. I'm sure more will come out in the news of how to apply for that funding, but I just wanted to share that because I think that's probably the biggest news that we can imagine in the veteran community. So with that, we meet monthly. Feel free, if you're a veteran or you serve them or are passionate about the cause, I'll put my email in the chat. Please reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for all you're doing. Then Gali Lodesh couldn't be with us. She runs the palliative care affinity group, and she sent to me this information that their next meeting will be Tuesday, January 30th at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Zoom, and the link will be sent out for those currently in the affinity group. And if you'd like to be included, please email Gali at, and I think Francisco's going to put this in the chat, at glodish, glodish @gmail.com. So, and then we have a group of training programs I want to be updated on, please. So the first person, Sung Shin from Sapiens Therapy, can you tell us about what you're going to be offering?
Hi, everyone. Happy 2024. Yes, so we have offered ketamine-assisted psychotherapy experiential for BIPOC clinicians last year twice, and we're starting one this March 18th, 22nd, and the 25th. And it's designed for clinicians, healthcare professionals of color so that they can gather to share, we can share knowledge about CAP, increase awareness about this modality, and provide self-care for oneself, and to create connections and community in hopes that through direct experience that clinicians are also going to go on to either train or be in a position to share the ketamine-assisted psychotherapy as a modality that could be useful to people that they are in contact with. I will be facilitating this with Bhavya Rajana, my friend and cohort from the certificate program of 2020. And what I can do is to put in the link and my name and Bhavya's email contact in the chat so that if you have questions, you can be in touch with me to learn more. I'm sure the website will be updated this week or so with the current dates. Look forward to having some of you join us, and I love to be able to connect and just answer questions, whatever that's on your mind about this. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sung. Very important work. And then we're lucky to have Dr. Dingle Spence from the Jamaica Cancer Care and Research Institute give us an update on some of the trainings she and her group are doing in Jamaica. Welcome,
Okay.
Dingle.
Thanks, Anne. Hi, I'm Dingle. I'm fairly new to the group. I was introduced by Dr. Chris Adrian, who couldn't be here today. So as you probably know, in Jamaica, we're really very lucky that psilocybin is not a scheduled medicine. And so I've been working in the retreat space for the last 3 years, offering retreat many different sectors. So to parents who've lost a child, that's Jamaica Grief Retreats. And also I work with a public benefit company called Beckley Retreats that offers retreats for personal growth. But what we've realized here in Jamaica is that there's clearly folks who are doing theoretical training in the US, Canada, Europe, who don't have a possibility of really having their own experience, a personal experience with psilocybin, unless you're doing it underground, but also being able to train as a facilitator, either in a group setting or in a one-on-one setting. So what JACRI is offering is exactly that. So it's an 8-day, 7-night, 8-day retreat where you get to have your own personal experience. And then we divide the group in two, and the first half sit for the other half. And then we have another day off, and then we flip it. So, and within it, it's a kind of a meta situation where you're having the experience, but you're also being trained at the same time. And that's kind of based on the training that myself and Chris Adrian did some time ago. So we're bringing that out. We will be upgrading our website, but right now I'll just put in the chat the email address for people who are interested. And just to say, we have 2 retreats. One is the 24th to the 31st of May. And the other one is later in the year, in late October going into November. We only have 8 spaces per retreat at the moment. So if you're interested, please do get in touch with us as soon as.
Great.
So that should say, yeah, Jackery Retreats at gmail.com, and we'll be updating our website, which is at jackery.org, within the next week. So you'll be able to find that on our website. So that's me. Thank you, Anne,
Thank
for
you.
the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Rick Barnett from the Vermont Psychedelic Society.
Hi everyone. Well, happy to be here and hear everybody's updates. Just a quick update on our end. We just wanted to announce the dates for our 2024 conference. Some of you here were lucky enough, if I dare say that, to come to our 2023 conference right over the fall equinox. So this year we're doing the same thing, same place, Stowe, Vermont, up at Spruce Peak Arts Center, with an incredible lineup of speakers as we had last time. That's September 20th to September 22nd. The 22nd is the fall equinox. We're going to cap it at 250, 260. And thank you, Rebecca. And yeah, some of you were there last year, and we're having some repeat speakers. Roz Watts has confirmed again. She was just a delightful, and I believe Robin Carhart Harris may in fact make it. Julie's going to come. Julie Holland's going to come back. So a few new people, a few people that were here last year, and I was gonna put someone on the spot who was on the call today, who just dropped off, but we've asked her to come as well. And I won't name her, but I don't want to, she's not here, but I still don't want to put her on the spot. So a few people that you all know. And so if you're in the area, I mean, even people came from California, from the UK, from Asheville, North Carolina. So if you're able to make it, it's really a special thing. It's very intimate, and please come if you can. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Rick. No, I hear it's a great time. Hoping to be there this year. It's always on my calendar, and I haven't made it yet. So thank you so much. And a good segue to Asheville, North Carolina. Sandy News, who I think even put something in the chat about having been there. She's from the Living Medicine Institute in Asheville, North Carolina.
Hi there, everyone. I am happy to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. Dr. Signe Goldman is also on this call. She is my business partner in the Living Medicine Institute. And we are a training program for psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. We have a video program that is kind of the foundational piece of our training program. And then we offer sort of 2 different tracks currently. One is we do introductory retreats. So we use ketamine specifically. It's a small cohort, generally 12-ish people at a lovely retreat center outside of Asheville. Residential, we spend the night. So it's 2 half days, Thursday through Sunday. And we really do it in a semi-ceremonial fashion. It's not really following any particular tenets of ceremony, but we sit in circle. We have a central fire. We do nature connection activities outside and really bring in the natural world. Participants have an opportunity to do an IV ketamine. They can do IM if they prefer that. And then we do a group nasal experience where people come together. Those people then go on to really become a part of our community. It's a really sweet, intimate setting. So it's a real combination of personal plus professional. And then we also do a level 1 clinical intensive, which is 16 weeks online with biweekly sessions, and we do 7 medicine sessions in between. So kind of roughly in between each one of our meetings, people do medicine sessions with all the 4 routes of administration. And there's a couple things that really make our training program unique. Sort of the things that draw people to us are we're really experienced providers. We've both been doing long-term CAP providers and have access and experience with other types of medicines. We're kind of really stand for that synergy of Western trained, evidence-based, research informed, and also an appreciation of the mystical elements of it. It's real small cohorts, so it's smaller, more intimate groups. And we really focus on the nuts and bolts of the clinical. So what is preparation? How do you do it? What is integration? How do you do it? So real emphasis on the more applied elements of it as opposed to the more theoretical and scientific elements of that. So we hope that people might consider joining us for that. The retreat is for clinical and medical professionals, and the level 1 is right now currently for licensed clinical professionals. We're moving towards opening a track for medical professionals. We're also going to be opening case consultation, Q&A, business development, consultation, and things like that as well. And then we also have, related to that, we have the Psychedelic Provider Network. It's psychedelicprovider.com. And that is a resource hub. So it's designed as kind of a one-stop solution, push the button and all of the resources that you need to stay current in the field or to learn about the field, research, news articles, podcasts, things like that. We actually have an assistant who makes that stay current. That also has discussion forums that we'd love to get people to start using, where you get on there and you can ask a question, collaborate, meet with other people, have ongoing discussions about particular topics. So it's undergoing a revision right now. So we're doing some work on the site, but that is kind of merging in together within the training program to kind of inform that. So yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is a great group and happy to be a part of it.
Great. Thank you, Sandy, for the update and the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
The last course-related update is from Ron Siegel, who's here at Harvard Medical School, and he wanted me to let the community know the next Harvard Medical School conference on psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy is called Contrasting Visions. And so he says, we're going to try to tackle many of the tensions in the field. It'll be in Boston in person and also online. And the link, thank you, Francisco, has been put in the chat. We'll also, as you know, we do a mailing 2 weeks after this meeting, and we'll have updates from all these people with the links. So thank you for that. And then some updates on some research projects. Brian Rajkot, can you tell us about your Johns Hopkins Archive project, please?
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you, Anne. So recently I've gotten involved with a project at Johns Hopkins University doing, basically the project is cataloging psychedelic mystical experiences into a database. And so we're reading through many different published pieces of literature, collecting them into an online database that hopefully will eventually have, tens of thousands of journey reports in there and be used for researchers and anybody curious to read about psychedelic mystical experiences. And so we meet every Friday. We just had a couple of weeks off for the holidays, but typically we meet every Friday at 2 and it's on Zoom, and it's a half-hour meeting, just kind of a check-in. And then each week, those of us involved do usually like two or three different journey reports and put them in, and we discuss different themes and that sort of thing at the meeting. But we're looking for more volunteers, people who'd be willing to do some psychedelic research into this interesting field of mysticism and psychedelic spiritually significant psychedelic experiences. So it's been an interesting project, and happy to connect you with the team lead. If you email me, I can put my email address in the chat here. And also I have a blurb that is in the BPRG monthly updates. So let me know if you have any questions, and happy to tell you a bit more about it. But it's a meaningful project, and I think a great way to get involved with an institution like Hopkins and different aspects of psychedelic research. So thank you.
Can I ask you a question right now?
Sure.
How do you factor out bogus data? So for example, somebody just makes up an experience, whether positive or negative.
Mm.
We
Yeah,
don't have a
that's-
lot of time for discussion. Maybe the two of you could connect in the chat, and then it's a really interesting, important
yeah.
question, but I'm sorry, it sounds like one that you can't just answer in a sentence or two. So,
Yeah, we can, message me in the chat and we'll talk. Mostly it's only published material, and so right now we're not doing like online forum kind of stuff. It's only stuff that's been published in either articles or books, which you never know, could be bogus stuff, but if it's been published, there's a certain level of legitimacy to it. So, but good question. Yeah,
yes, good.
thanks.
Thank you. Sorry to have to cut you off. Thank you, Brian,
Oh,
for
no
what you're
worries.
doing. Then an update again that I'm going to read. This is from Yvonne Bosson, who was one of our presenters at our last meeting. The research he's been involved with Manish Agarwar at the Sunstones therapy group in the DC area. Their results were just published in Cancer. It was the journal Cancer. It was an open label trial of 30 participants with cancer and major depression undergoing psilocybin assisted therapy, one dosing of 25 milligrams of psilocybin in a group model. Key highlights: average reduction of 19.1 points in depression severity scores after 8 weeks of treatment, 80% sustained response to treatment, with 50% achieving full remission of depressive symptoms, mild treatment-related side effects reported, and kudos to the Sunstone therapy team for their innovative group approach. The qualitative insights: participants described a profound sense of togetherness and support within the group setting. The structured sessions, both individual and group-based, contributed to an intimate and introspective process. The group approach was noted to deepen and enrich the overall therapeutic experience, and many participants reported an ongoing transformative impact on their lives, feeling better equipped to cope with cancer and, for some, end-of-life considerations. Well, thank you, Yvonne, for that. And then some nonprofit groups.
Hi, Anne. I'm sorry. This
Yeah.
is Marcos. Is it possible to get the information of these papers or paper?
I will get more from Yvonne, and we'll get it in our next mailing, Marcos. And if that's not enough, I'm happy to connect you directly with Yvonne.
Yes. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So Elizabeth Ames, who we always love hearing from, what's going on in the Ukraine with Heal Ukraine Trauma, and UPRA, the Ukrainian Psychedelic Research Association.
Thanks so much, Anne, and Happy New Year to everyone. As I reviewed last time, all of us working together in Ukraine in country had a really exceptional 2023 in terms of focusing on addressing aspects of conflict-related trauma and moving the therapeutic psychedelics movement forward. To clarify, Heal Ukraine Trauma and HUD and UPRA are separate organizations, but we have a symbiotic relationship. So we're able to mine the very best of a Ukrainian-based NGO context, which can be opaque to the West, and a US nonprofit structure. So I hope that clarifies how we work closely but separately. So as I reviewed before, Heal Ukraine Trauma co-sponsored UPRA's Breakthrough Medical Conference. We trained 650 children over a geographic quarter of Ukraine in war context proven mind-body techniques. And we conceptualized and initiated creation of a CAP-based joint Ukrainian-American group training program. UPRA really established themselves organizationally last year. They're up to 375 members, which blows my mind, remembering how it just started with a phone call between me and Oleg in 2019. The conference was incredibly impactful on many levels, and UPRA has made absolutely extraordinary progress working with the government towards rescheduling and legalization of pretty much every psychedelic, which I believe will happen in 2024. And we're brainstorming together about what our focus would be next year. But before I get to that, the third leg of our ecosystem for working in Ukraine, Phoenix, which is a Canadian group established to support potential clinical trials, partnered with MAPS Israel, and UPRA to give MAPS training to 15 Ukrainian therapists in Sarajevo. Now, looking at next year, I see it as being a breakthrough year, both for legalization and for access and delivery of therapeutic psychedelics, but it really depends on funding. First, we're driving ahead on the CAP training program, which is really talking about group therapy, and utilizing CAP as the experience, but designed so therapists can really slot any psychedelic into the CAP space. And what we're looking at is pulling together really complex partnerships to actually deliver therapy. So we're talking about a pilot for MDMA in a medical military hospital setting, utilizing a generic source of MDMA, funding it primarily through the US, and organizing it with UPRA. And we have the management foundation to do this. But what we're talking about is 500 people being delivered at a cost basis that's going to be about 10% of what MAPS experience during their trial process, we're also looking and very enthusiastic about doing a pilot in a similar setting for ibogaine treating TBI. So there are a lot of ifs, but my ask here is every donation to HUD and the way we work with UPRA is important, but we're proven now, and we need introductions to major donors. So none of this can happen unless we find major donors with six-figure giving potential who want to have huge national impact in Ukraine, but also want to work with an American nonprofit that's proven in large-scale project management over there and is transparent from American standards for nonprofits. So if anybody knows of donors who fit that description, we need to develop this resource and we would be deeply grateful. So please reach out to me, and thank you for all you're doing, and have a great year.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. It's exciting to see what's going on. Amazing in a war zone, how much is happening over there.
Yep, we've cracked the code on how to make it happen.
You definitely have. Thank you, thank you. So next up, Mason Marks, please, from the Harvard Law School Petrie Flom Center. If you can give us an update on what's going on at Harvard with psychedelics, Mason. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see all of you. So I'm a law professor. I focus on drug policy and health law. And I'll tell you about a recent gift to Harvard University. I'm a visiting professor at the law school and a senior fellow at the Petrie Flom Center for Health Law and Policy. In October, there was a gift of $16 million to the university at large by the Gracias Family Foundation to support the study of psychedelics in society and culture. And that's really unique because, as I'm sure you're all aware, most of the research has been really geared towards medical therapeutics, which is really important, but there's been kind of a gap in research about how psychedelics are being incorporated into society. Another goal of that gift is to promote interdisciplinary research across the university. So there have been different pockets of psychedelic work going on for quite some time, and there has been some interdisciplinary collaboration, but this gift is really going to enhance that and create a lot of unique educational opportunities for students and just the industry and society in general. Some of the programs that will benefit from this gift are Harvard Law School, the Divinity School, and the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And at the law school, the existing program is the Project on Psychedelics Law and Regulation, or POPLAR, which I was fortunate to co-found in 2021, and we're about halfway through our third year right now. And at the Divinity School, the program is largely based at the Center for the Study of World Religions, which looks at the links between psychedelics and spirituality and religion. And within the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, the work is largely based at the Mahindra Center for Humanities. And that center is now funding research or accepting research proposals from across the university, from students, faculty, and fellows. So it will be really interesting to see what kind of research and educational projects come out of that funding. There will also be an endowed professorship on psychedelics and human health and flourishing. And there's also a collaboration with the UC Berkeley Center for Psychedelic Science. I'll give you just a really quick update on some exciting programming that's coming up this year. Next month, on February 17th, the Center for the Study of World Religions at the Divinity School will have a conference with 4 different tracks that looks at the intersections of psychedelic spirituality and race, indigenous traditions, medicine, and the psychedelic underground. So that's really going to fill some gaps out there in existing scholarship and academic programming, and they'll produce an edited volume out of that event. And then one day before that, on February 16th, the Petrie Flom Center is hosting a conference at Fordham Law School in New York City in collaboration with the Fordham Law Review. And that's going to look back at 50 years of drug policy that have largely been led by the Department of Justice and the DEA, which turned 50 last year. And then in late June, I think June 25th, the Petrie Flom Center will host its annual conference. And this year we're focusing on the law and ethics of psychedelic medicine. And we have a really great cross-section of the psychedelic medicine space attending the conference, and we'll also produce an edited volume to commemorate that event. So there's a lot of really exciting work being done across Harvard on psychedelics, and it's going to be really fun to see the kind of research and educational programming that comes out of this really generous gift from the Gracias Family Foundation. I'll put some links to some of those events in the chat. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nathan. It's exciting this is happening at Harvard. Thank you, thank you. And then Jared Moffat from the New Approach Group to give us an update on where we stand with the 2024 Mass Ballot Initiative.
Yes. Thank you so much, Anne. It's great to see everybody here. My name is Jared Moffat. I'm with New Approach Advocacy Fund, and I'm based in Sacramento, California. I work on a lot of state policy initiatives around the country. I think we've already heard a little bit about some exciting things at the federal level and MDMA approval potentially this year. But my focus and priorities are at the state level. And I've got some terrific folks here joining me today to talk about the Massachusetts campaign. I'm going to hand it off, if that's okay, to Emily and Linda to talk about the Massachusetts effort. I just wanted to say really quickly, if it's okay, Anne, to broaden the scope a little bit, to set the stage is just to say that, you know, there is a lot of interest and excitement around the country around psychedelic policy reform. Folks may not be aware that last year, roughly half the legislatures in the country, state legislatures, saw bill introductions around psychedelics, and I expect even more states to consider legislation this year. And there's a lot of states that seem close to enacting something. California's governor seems interested in pursuing something. So there's a lot of momentum, and I think that, you know, Massachusetts has the opportunity to really become a huge leader in this field this year as well with the ballot initiative. So with that, I'd love to hand it over to Emily, who's with us today, and she's leading the campaign and doing some terrific work. So Emily, if you're on, are you able to share some updates?
Happily. Well, I left this out of my little introduction earlier. I'm here because of Rebecca Slater. Without her group, I would not know what direction to go with being involved in this world or advocacy. So BPRG and Affinity groups do great work and brought me here. So I'm really grateful for that. So a little bit about what we're doing. Massachusetts for Mental Health Options is a ballot committee supporting a measure to expand legal access to natural psychedelics in Massachusetts. 2 components, decrim and home cultivation, as well as a regulated program for supervised therapeutic use. It's similar to the initiative that was passed in Colorado in 2022, if you're familiar with that. So a little bit about what we've been doing. We did a signature drive, and 2 weeks ago, we received the official certification for nearly 100,000 signatures from the Secretary of the Commonwealth. So no small feat. We're very excited about that. The initiatives have been transmitted to the legislation, and there'll be a public discussion about it. You guys will be kept aware of that through Mighty. By this summer, we'll know about whether or not we're officially on the ballot in November. And soon we'll have a website and social media up, so you guys will be able to get updates a little more readily instead of me jamming out an email sporadically. So I'm excited for that. And again, so this is a collaborative effort. I am new to politics. So I am just excited to talk to people and get everyone together to help move forward with something that I care about and I'm passionate about, and sounds like everyone here is also passionate about. So if anyone is interested in working with the campaign or figuring out how to get involved, I'll put my email in the chat, and I'm accessible on Mighty. And again, we'll have our website and social media up soon. So I'm going to kick it over to Linda, if you want to add anything on.
Sure, I'll be brief as I know we're coming to the end of our time for the next section, but my name's Linda Tossi. I'm not new to politics, but am new to psychedelics. I spent a lot of time in my career working on Democratic campaigns and ballot question campaigns and policy campaigns. Understanding the this is a big responsibility for us and the people I work with, and working with Emily and others to bring our learning up to speed and listening to understand, the usage, and very excited for the ballot question. It's interesting. We've done a lot of these and people are very curious. And I think, we're looking forward to bringing the story about psychedelics and therapeutic treatment to voters over the next 302 days. And thank you for allowing us to listen and be a part of this community. Very helpful for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that the end of your update? Not that to say it wasn't enough, just want to make sure you're finished, Jared, and your team.
Yes, we encourage folks to reach out, and there will be more updates as we go along, but we're just focused on now talking about this within the legislature, and we'll have another round of signatures to collect in May and June, and then, as Emily said, that will be in the summer. We'll find out that we're officially on the ballot, and so then we'll be making the case to voters, and really hoping that a lot of folks here are able to help build the community around this. It's also going to be, a long process ahead in terms of implementation too. So we hope to, continue to be in touch with all of you here, and encourage everyone to get involved as we move forward.
Great. Thank you so much. And so I would second that. And I feel as if all of us who have any connections in Oregon should learn from our friends in Oregon what's going on there, so we don't make the same mistakes they've been making. I know there are really good things going on. I don't mean to sound negative, but let's be a real leader here in implementing this in the right direction. And right now is a crucial time as we try to educate our legislators about what's going to be the best way to move forward with this. So thank you, Jared, and your team for your leadership on this. So any other spontaneous updates? Sometimes, but rarely that happens, but hate to close the door. We're at the end of our time, so it would be a very brief one. But if not, I think
I have a spontaneous update, but I'm not on video, Anne.
Oh, okay, Sherry. We always love hearing from you. We prefer seeing you, but we'll listen to you.
I'm sorry. My spontaneous update is to stay tuned that by the end of the month, BPRG will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you miss a meeting and you don't want to watch it on YouTube with ads, we will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Great. Well, that's exciting. And then Mighty Networks, we're all trying to get used to using that. It seems to be a very good way to communicate. Thank you, Sherry, for all you do to make this happen.
No worries.